All right, what's up, everybody? What's up, everybody? It's your boy Big Bates. About to make this matchup chart. Normally, I don't do this. Normally, I just keep it all in my head and I just keep my opinions to myself. But this time, I'm gonna try to make one so I can bounce ideas off everybody else. You know, what I like about Samurai Showdown is there's a lot of different play styles, different opinions, and people have different values to this game. So hopefully by the time this matchup chart is done, you know a good bit about Genjuro and maybe how I feel about the game and what I value in this game and what I base my strategies off of and everything. So before I start this matchup chart, I want y'all to just know a few things on my decision making and why I feel the way I do about these characters, right? Because every character you feel some kind of way, you know, everybody's got their first initial reaction to when they fight in a character, but obviously the more you fight the matchups and the more you play them, the more you learn that, hey, it's not so bad, or I have things that I can do that I'm just not doing. And then you could always fall back on your fundamentals as well. You know, sometimes when we play matchups, we forget about the fundamental things about the game, and we don't necessarily apply them as well as we should. So when I'm fighting a character in this game, oh, and by the way, I'm not really gonna look at the chat, or I'm not really gonna see what all y'all are saying right away. Maybe if somebody subscribes or something, I'll see them, right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool.
But for the most part, just hold the questions to them.
Yeah. So just for YouTube purposes and reference purposes, I'm gonna just go through all the matchups briefly, or some a little bit more if I need to explain more, and then we can like chit chat or debate later on, because the best thing about charts or tier lists is they're all debatable, they're all subjective. There is no right or wrong. So I could think a matchup is totally trash, but the person who plays that character that I think loses that matchup could love that matchup. So it's always good to talk things over and get people's ideas on stuff. So I'm all about that. So if I say some outlandish shit, or you know, some things that just aren't wrong because I'm just bouncing a lot of stuff off my head, please correct me. I'm all about that. I want the facts, and it helps me learn as well. So first off, let's just jump into what I think is important for matchups. So for me, there's like three basic things that determine matchups. It's game plan first, right? So what is my character supposed to do? What does my character want to do? And where are my character's strengths and weaknesses, right? So just obvious rule of thumb, if I can't execute my game plan, then I'm gonna feel like that matchup is hard, right?
Yeah. Sure.
But there are other things that I could be doing in that matchup that it's not necessarily what my character normally does, but it doesn't mean my character can't get an advantage or put my opponent in a bad situation per se. So for me, I just try to consider every time I fight a character, okay, so maybe I can't play like how my character is normally supposed to play, so I'm just gonna rely on my reads, or I'm gonna just rely on poking, which I don't think Genjuro's poking is all that exceptional. But maybe this matchup, I have to poke more just to get my game plan off. So that's like one of my number one thing when I try to determine matchups. And number two, for me, it's mechanics. How well can I use the mechanics in the game versus this character? So weapon flip, rage, can I SSM them? How often can I super special move punish them? How often can I deflect? Or just like, are the mechanics in my favor, or are they in his favor?
Neil, subscribe.
All right, Neil. All right, thanks for the subscription, man. yeah, so like, are the mechanics gonna work for me or they're gonna work for my opponent? So that's a huge factor because that's just the game engine. Like, you just have to know how to play your character in that game engine. So when you're fighting bad matchups or good matchups, you know, the game engine is either gonna be working against you or for you. So that's very key in my opinion. And just third for me, it's more like the very last thing when I look at matchups is I think a punish game. How much of his kit can I punish versus how much of my kit he can punish. So if majority of the decisions I make are gonna get punished hard or not that hard, it's also gonna determine a lot of my decisions while I play, or how often I can do something in this matchup, right? So those three things are basically what is gonna guide me through how I'm looking at Genjuro's matchups in this game and how I feel about Genjuro in this game. You know, a lot of people see the first patch Genjuro was really strong, borderline busted. I don't think it was busted, but borderline busted. That boy was a terror, man. At Evo, oh my god, it was like Genjuro's everywhere. There was a lot of dead bodies on the ground, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
A lot of gorillas walking around. So, now that this game's been updated, I think it's in a really good spot. And I think the game is starting to flesh itself out. And matchups are starting to develop. Because before it was really early. But now we're developing matchups and everybody's kind of like grinding it out. So, I think now is a good time to make a matchup chart for this version, which I think is 1.51.
Yeah.
So I don't know how much time we got left on this version, and who knows if they make a big old patch, but I think we at least got a month, right?
Yeah, well, it comes out on the 20th.
The 20th? Okay,
Who knows
so
what they're gonna do to the game.
yeah, they might not even change the game.
Yeah, who
They
knows?
might just drop a bunch of characters and keep it moving. So
Yeah.
Mina might be busted, and that might be the only character played at SW.
Yeah, who knows?
Who knows, right? So, all right. Now with that being said, I can finally jump into some of these matchups and everything. So, let's see who I want to start with. Let's start with the main rival, Haomaru. Let's see. I would put Haomaru in probably unfavorable category, and it's not so. And okay, let me start by saying the categories here. Unfavorable doesn't mean you can't win. Okay, so if I say something's unfavorable, that don't mean it's the end all be all. Every time Genjuro fights Haomaru, he's gonna lose. That's just not the case at all, obviously, because I've beaten Haomaru's. So when I say unfavorable, I just mean like, if I fight this character, there are just certain things that if I fail at those aspects, I'm very likely to lose. And my opponent basically is not fighting as hard as I'm fighting for the most part. So I have to be very on point, and I can't just, I have to think about all facets, right? So don't take unfavorable as, oh man, Genjuro just lose this matchup, because that's just not the case. Unfavorable is just, you have to be on point, you have to know more than your opponent, or you have to hope you know more than your opponent, and you need to be very astute on your decisions. You can't just do stuff willy-nilly, you know? You don't get to play freely, and especially in a tournament setting where you're both nervous and you have to account for a lot of outside factors like people behind you screaming, or you know, or hell, the monitor might be laggy or something. You know, all those stuff play in the tournament matches if you are a seasoned tournament player, and you have to fight around those, plus the matchup and the things you have to think about the matchup. So for me, if I'm making this matchup chart, to be honest, it's more about like how I feel in tournament, not on paper. So if you're like trying to, on paper they can do this, on paper they can do that, then to me those aren't matchups, because we're not robots, we're all humans, and we make mistakes. I haven't seen a single perfect match of Sam Show yet. Have you?
No, I don't know.
There's no such thing. To me, there's no such thing as a perfect match in tournament. There's only high level, mid level, and low level. So if you're trying to play these matchups at high level, then this is how I feel about, whether it's in my favor or not. So with that being said, when I look at Haomaru, I look at my game plan, right? So Genjuro is very mix-up heavy, good at punishing, and his reads, he can take a lot from, he can snowball you off of some good reads, right? So when you're fighting Haomaru, he's got a pretty good poke game. His jump C is really good, but you got your DP to anti-air that, right? So he has to be careful on how he approaches you. And damage-wise, Haomaru can keep up damage-wise because he's got a great run game. You have to deal with his throws. He can out-poke you. And when he gets rage, he's just a fucking beast, man. He's just a monster. So, the reason I think Haomaru really wins this matchup is really just because of his rage. Genjuro is just straight trash when he doesn't have his weapon, right? Unlike a lot of characters, he has a really hard time getting back to his weapon off of one. If you hit him once and then you send him flying, he really has no way to make even to even hit you unless you allow him to. Once again, that's his player, that's nerves, that's tournament. That's why these matchups can still be won, because you can make reads like that. But if you just think about the options that Haomaru has, once Genjuro loses his weapon, he really can't do anything. And you can say that for a lot of characters in the game. However, just in this matchup in particular, where they're both kind of even and neutral and they're jotting for position and everything, Haomaru having his weapon flipping technique for 10 seconds?
Yeah, it's longer than yours anyway.
Yeah, it's 10 seconds and Genjuro only has it for 7 seconds. So if you think about it like this, if Genjuro uppercuts you as an anti-air while he's enraged, by the time he lands and tries to pressure you, if you back roll and he throws you, his weapon flip will be gone.
Yeah, every DP consumes it by half.
Yeah, it takes away from his rage, and then the timer's going down when you're trying to land a hit. While Haomaru, he gets a few. His run game is so strong because of the run light slash, which is just his punch. Right? He can just punch you, and Genjuro can punish it with medium slash, standing medium slash. However, if he spaces it properly, he can get a parry off of it. So those are just mixed. Those are he has safe pressure, and he has a lot of ways to open up Genjuro while being safe, as opposed to Genjuro, who, when he tries to open you up, he has to make a big risk. But with that being said, Genjuro can punish Haomaru for taking risks. But for me, when I look at this matchup, I don't think Haomaru needs to take the risk. And as Genjuro, the more I'm fighting Haomaru, the more I'm buffing him into his rage. And he has that run option select into the weapon flip. He's got run punch in the bait parry. He's still got a good jump C. You're not going to anti-air every time because we're humans, right? So even though Genjuro can anti-air pretty consistently with his DP, we're all human. We're not going to get it. And his throw in the medium DP is very consistently good damage into safe jump, which then your DP is not even a wake up option. So to me, I really believe Haomaru wins this matchup. But like I said, if you make a read with Genjuro, you can snowball. You can do a lot of things that Haomaru can really gonna have a hard time dealing with. And you get a life lead with Genjuro, you can hold it. Because him trying to open you up is not very. He has to do it off of a run throw. If you guess on a throw, he's done. And if he jumps, you can anti-air. So he can't just get his offense started for free. So for me, I think Haomaru wins that. But like I said, it's very winnable. You can as Genjuro, you can fight that. Who we got? We got next Nakaruru. Okay, so I'm gonna put Nakaruru in a favorable category. And this one, I don't know. It can be debatable. I don't get to fight a lot of Nakaruru, so this is just from my experience. But fighting Nakaruru, I feel like she's playing on a tightrope. And that tightrope is, do I want to make the Genjuro wait on me and try to counter me, or do I want to annoy the Genjuro and get him to do unsafe things, right? And as Genjuro, like I said earlier, Genjuro's punish game is very strong. And when a character like Nakamura who takes extra damage, I think it's like 110, 110%.
It's like, I can't remember her exact. She has the lowest health value.
Yeah, basically.
I just can't remember that exact number.
That just amplifies Genjuro even more, really. So she has to be very careful on how she approaches this character. And her game plan, throw the bird, run up, do safe pressure, and kind of like get you annoyed and then punish you. And then when she gets weapon flip, she could punish damn near anything Genjuro got with a weapon flip. So if there was ever an argument for this to be a 5-5 matchup, the weapon flip I think would be a pretty good argument. But for me, the reason it's not a 5-5 matchup is because I also can pressure her and put her in bad situations where if she tries to escape and I clip her with like a 2C, or I put her in a recoil mix-up, which is where Genjuro, he shines really well in the recoil mix-ups. So like if let's say I do a heavy, right, and she blocks it, she can try to like weapon flip it or throw the bird or run slide, but in reality I could just uppercut through all that stuff. So when she gets put in her, and then I can just take the recoil into a cross-up mix-up, or if I feel like you're just not gonna sit there, I could just throw the card after the recoil, right?
Yeah.
So I can put her in situations where she really has to make a decision, and if she makes the wrong decision, I could really fuck her up. And once I get the life lead with Genjuro, I feel like it's hard for her to trade blows with me and get that back, because she takes extra damage, right? So, even if she makes a hard read or something, 1-2C it equalize everything, or maybe a combo and a weapon flip will equalize everything. So for me, she's playing on a tightrope. She can fight this matchup though. She can definitely fight this matchup, especially if she can establish a good zoning game against Genjuro. It's doable. However, I feel like just tournament wise, when you're playing in a high pressure match, the onus is more on the Nakamura to win than the Genjuro, because he's just gonna run his mix-ups, play how Genjuro normally plays, and be very powerful. So for me, that's where Genjuro really strives in that matchup. Now this next matchup I have a hard time with, and my man got no head right here. Is Hanzo. It's just a body with arms folded.
I mean, that's pretty much Hanzo.
But so when I look at Hanzo, I've been playing a little bit of Hanzo myself. This matchup, both of these characters, they kind of have a hard time approaching each other without it being a mix-up, basically. There's no real safe way to approach each other in this matchup. So right now I got it even, simply because when Hanzo goes for the cross-up and I block it, he can get SSM punished, right? So he has to do certain things to set it up. But in the process of doing those things, if I knock him down, I could stay on top of him as Genjuro and make his life fucking miserable, right? But vice versa with him, when he gets raged, I think Hanzo is like one of the best characters in the game in Raged. And he makes it really hard for Genjuro to do anything without having to jump or run up DP or just sit there and take the mix-up. So the only thing with Hanzo is he doesn't get rage. It takes him a long time to build his rage, right? So, Genjuro, who builds rage fairly quickly, like I think he's like, I can't remember the chart, but I think he's like top 5 in the game for building rage, even though his rage duration is only 7 seconds, which is criminal. Because he can get his rage faster than Hanzo, he's a real threat. And Hanzo can fight without his weapon, but just combo damage, like let's say Hanzo tries to run slide or run cross up, he's gonna eat that medium slash in the weapon flip or medium slash in the DP and get safe jump, and he's gonna be in a terrible situation, and it's gonna be very hard for him to get out, you know. But the reason this is 5-5 is because Hanzo, I feel like, is a third round monster. If you're the Hanzo player, you're almost guaranteed the third round if you pop your rage. Just simply do because, and if you have your rage going into the third round, that round is almost guaranteed to be yours if you play your card right. It's not guaranteed, but it's very in your favor because you can force the most fucked up decisions on your opponent, and if you get the right read, you got the game. So Hanzo, when he's enraged in the third round, Genjuro don't really have too many options. Like, a lot of characters that give Hanzo a problem is characters with reflex, and they can get the fireball off of him. But the best Genjuro could do is like maybe throw the card. But if he throws the card, by the time he throws the card and trades fireballs, Hanzo can get off another one. And it won't necessarily punish Genjuro, but it'll really put him in a bad spot to where he is gonna have to guess anyway. And if he's an Isen and Genjuro tries to trade the card, he just Isen through the trade and he'll win. So that's a deadly situation. And you can imagine the third round, you know, you're trying to keep your wits about yourself. You may not even have a life lead. And I feel like as Hanzo, if you get like maybe 40%, that's like optimal time to pop it, because you can take a few hits and a few reads and still apply your offense. And then if they get too crazy, you could just ease in through their shit. So for me, that's why that matchup is like 5-5 personally. Hanzo can punish a lot of Genjuro's special moves as well, like cross up. It's really easy. You can do stand heavy. You can SSM the cross up if you block all the Rekkas. Very easy to punish DP.
You don't have to worry about his heavy.
You don't have to worry about it. If Genjuro does the card, you could backdash out of all his card mix-ups. So the card mix-up's not even relevant because you can just backdash out of it. And even if the card does hit you, Genjuro don't get nothing with the removal of the pursuit function. So you don't get any juggles, which is what really hurt Genjuro this version, in my opinion. So that being said, I think that's even. It's not a fun matchup for either parties, because if you're just getting vortexed by fucking Genjuro, then that's not fun. And if you're just letting Hanzo throw the fireball, of course you're gonna feel bad about that matchup. So we're gonna move on to the next ninja, that boy Galford, and I feel like Genjuro wins this matchup. This matchup could be even, to be honest. I don't get to fight a lot of high-level Galfords. They almost like the Genjuro players. They almost just disappeared after the patch, right? So, but when the patch was like when pre-patch, I thought Galford was OD. He was so hard for me to fight, but they toned him down a lot. And now that what did they nerfed his rage, right?
They nerfed the speed on his weapon flipping.
Yeah, they nerfed the speed on it. Yeah, so the startup is not as amazing. So you can get away with a lot more stuff. And he don't hit you for big damage, really. And a lot of his special moves are very punishable, which is what Genjuro excels at. Like, if you throw that teleport, man, you might as well just give me the game. If I block it and 5C, you really have no other. And you give me the life lead, you're gonna have a hard time getting that life lead back. I mean, you can throw Poppy at me all you want and let me kick your dog, but other than that, you know, you're gonna struggle, you know. And then, you know, the rage is still good when he has weapon flip. It's still good against Genjuro. Like, you can still shut down a lot of Genjuro's options. The true problem is just you might win a few battles, but as far as the war goes, you're not gonna win damage wise. And reads wise, Genjuro just has way more opportunities to make a read versus Galford. Because I'm not trying to poke Galford. I'm not trying to fight Galford mid-range. I'm waiting for you to throw something stupid or get too happy with your fireballs and kill you. And when I land a jump in, you're gonna feel it. You're gonna feel it big time. So I don't even think, maybe you could go for a run mix-up or something to scare Genjuro, but that's not scary to me because if I block it, I'm taking way more than you would have took off of me. So as far as this matchup goes, I don't think there's too much to say. like I said, I don't get to fight many Galfords. There may be a Galford out there that thinks this matchup is godlike for Galford, and they love fighting this matchup. And I would love to fight that person, but for me, I have yet to see it. So, moving on, we're gonna move to the man himself, Mr. Ukyo here, and he's headless as well. But if he did have a head, it'd probably just be Tsubame. This matchup, I feel like Ukyo wins just because I can never stop him from doing his game plan, right? But he can definitely cripple me out of my game plan simply by not doing anything. If he just waits and I approach and backdash Tsubame, that was a low risk option that would have got him a nice chunk of life and a mix up. So for me, when I fight Ukyo, I feel like I'm not so much trying to fight Ukyo. I'm trying to make Ukyo fuck up. That's how I fight Ukyo in this matchup.
That makes sense. I feel the same way.
Yeah. I'm not really trying to fight the character because there's no real consistent way to fight the character. It's really just you have to get in your opponent's psyche and you have to make them second guess and question all the decisions. That way you can build the opportunity to kill them. And like I said, Genjuro with this punish, he can kill Ukyo. Ukyo takes a lot of damage. Like every time I think it's 3 block Tsubames and 3 5Cs and Ukyo's dead.
Yeah.
When he's fighting. So if I block 3 Tsubames, you're dead. And some of them are SSM punch, so if you try to bomb it out in the corner, you're definitely dead when you're in the corner. So that is a good thing about the matchup, but for overall, obviously the Ukyo player is going to be intelligent for the most part, so he's not going to do uneducated Tsubame, right? So if he's not going to do uneducated Tsubames, he's going to do a lot of mix-ups, safe mix-ups, and he's going to punish me on some stuff because, you know, as a player, I'm going to go for things that I think is going to work, right? So if he gets the right read on what I want to go for, then he gets a free punish 9 times out of 10. And 9 times out of 10, it could be a Tsubame punish as well if they want it to be. A lot of Ukyos just go with the easy slide option, but if you're trying to optimize your damage against Genjuro, a lot of stuff, you can just Tsubame it on block. I think he can Tsubame my card on block.
On one blade? Yeah, you can.
Yeah, but what's interesting about that is he reflects the card into Genjuro and resets.
Yeah, it makes him stand again.
Yeah, like when I was fighting any OCRs, Ukyo, that happened a lot where like he was Tsubame, it would reflect my card, reset me, and then I'd be recovering way earlier than he did. And I get to punish him. Yeah. So you could just fix that with backdash Tsubame, to be honest. But if you do decide to do that, that is something Genjuro can do. But backdash Tsubame beats a lot of Genjuro's mix-ups. I think you could Tsubame in between the Rekkas as well. You block one Rekka, you can automatically Tsubame, and you'll just get out of it. Or you'll hit him. So
I mean, if he wants to beat the card mix-up, he could always just do the 5.
Oh yeah,
3D.
Yeah, 3D or the slash, the medium into the slash, because the slash will run him out of the card.
Yeah.
So he's got so many options. Like right now, Genjuro's card mix-ups are like borderline trash because they don't really. I mean, if you're not ready for it, then you're not gonna have the right answer immediately. But in reality, you know, if you can react to the card mix-up, and basically every character in the game got an out. I can't think of a single character. Maybe Earthquake, because Earthquake, it bounces where, yeah, he can't stand up, so it bounces oddly. But other than that, you know, Ukyo just got great options against Genjuro's mix-ups, and once he gets the right read against Genjuro, he can make him pay and put him in a 50-50, and that's where he wants to be. So not only is Genjuro not allowed to play how he normally plays, he can only punish a few things, and the only things he can punish is up to the Ukyo player to throw it. If the Ukyo just never does it and nickels and dimes the Genjuro gonna have to take a risk, and then we're playing Sam Show, you know? But other than that, there's not too many opportunities for Genjuro in this matchup. I can't really put the Ukyo in a situation that he can't prep for or can't do anything about. So for me, Genjuro wins that. I mean, I'm sorry, Ukyo wins that. Ukyo wins that. Forgive me. Ukyo wins that. Let's see. Next, we got the Kabuki man himself. I'm gonna say this is even. I love Kyosho, man. He's such a very cool character. He's like 1 or 2 buffs away from being a strong character, but I feel like right now he's kind of weak. Or it's just he's not tournament viable in my opinion.
Yeah, he's not. He can't make mistakes.
Yeah, he struggles in tournament in my opinion, just because he has a lot of characters that are bad matchups for him, and he can't mess up, man. He has to be perfect if he wants to be consistent in tournament, and nobody's perfect. So, when I think about this matchup, obviously Kyosho has great pokes. He's got an uppercut, the heavy version. Very consistent uppercut. The only problem with his uppercut is that he has so much recovery on hit that if he does uppercut Genjuro, I'm right next to him. And he's kind of in a bad situation at that point. So you would almost have to just ideally go to his crouch heavy slash. But his crouch heavy slash will trade a lot of time with Genjiro's jump in heavy. So you almost have to pick your battles. The only thing I do like about this matchup for Kyoshiro is his weapon flip technique is so strong in this matchup because it gets him out of a lot of situations. The chip damage on it is really good, and it goes behind him. So he can force a lot of situations where if you try to jump out, he can just weapon flip you regardless and catch you out of the air, and that's strong as hell to me. I think that's really good, especially with the amount of damage he does on chip. So if he ever has a life lead on you and you struggling, it really nerfs your comeback abilities, because if he blocks one thing that you can't recoil, instead of punishing it with like a light punish, he could just do his weapon flip and chip you out. And if you try to do anything, you're just gonna get hit by the weapon flip and lose the chunk. And it's easy to combo into, you can throw into it. So to me, that's like the deciding factor that makes Kyoshiro like can fight Genjuro. But at the end of the day, he's gonna have to deal with Genjiro's mix-ups. You're gonna have to deal. All his shit is punishable, right? I almost consider Kyoshiro like the poking version of Genjuro.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
He's like the poking version. He's like, if you wanted to poke but be like Genjuro, you just pick Kyosho because all your shit is punishable. He's got a low medium slash.
Yeah.
It goes further than Genjuro, but his is like what, negative?
It's -8 on hit.
Yeah, -8 on hit. So if you do it while they have Isen, you're gonna get punished. Or some characters who have how fast is
Earthquake can weapon flip.
Yeah, for sure. Some characters can weapon flip it, so it's like a lot of inconsistencies with his kit too that give Genjiro's a lot of opportunities to attack. Like I said, if you anti-air DP me, I'm next to you. That's what I want. That's what I want with Genjuro, right? So you're gonna have to guess. He's got some cool meaty setups with the flame breath, but I can uppercut through all those whatever bullshit setup he has. So there's no such thing as true meaties in this game, really. You can do safe jumps, but he's so floaty, he ain't even got no safe jumps.
No, he can't really do anything.
So he can't really put anything on me that Genjuro can't deal with. So in my opinion, Genjuro can definitely fight this, and I think both of them have strengths in this matchup. It's really a battle of game plans, right? You got a poking character versus a mid-range mix-up character, right? So it's actually a fun matchup to fight. It's pretty cool to see the contrast in styles, and both players have to respect each other in this matchup. So, all right, moving on to the next one. We got the Headless Jubei.
You know, it's funny. This tier maker, I just picked the first one. I should have saw what they look like, but it's whatever. I feel like they can.
I mean, you can tell by the body shape and like their clothes. It's not hard. Several Shodown characters are
they're identifiable.
Yeah. They're very original, so it's not hard to tell what they are. I'm not stressing about that. Jubei, man, what is there not to say about Jubei, man? This character, Genjuro struggles versus this character. Obviously his pokes are really strong. His rage is not so much a factor as when he throws you, when he's enraged, that shit do a lot of damage, and it's very hard to make that comeback and get try to like go blow for blow for it with Jubei when he gets those throws, man, because you don't have very many opportunities to punish him. And then Genjiro's weapon flip is like a non-threat because it don't last that long. And if I try to approach, he can stifle. He has everything he needs to stop Genjiro's approach. there's nothing Jubei doesn't have to stop Genjuro from approaching. So if you're playing this matchup and you just have good reactions, it is very hard for the Genjuro to do anything to get in on you, really. And you're gonna see that trend with a lot of the poking characters I'm about to name off here. A lot of the far range poke characters that are pretty much all top tier are pretty much, not all of them, but a lot of them are. They give you such a hard time to just get anything going and not feel like an idiot.
Yeah.
You know, you just have to make a read, and then, you know, when you make the wrong read, you feel like a fucking idiot, and you just have to document it in your head because they're gonna make you pay for it, and you're gonna be so far behind that it just snowballs, right? Mm-hmm. So you just have to keep a strong mindset, and you have to constantly watch your opponent very carefully on when you can make the right reads. Always manage your rage. Try to just defend everything. Genjuro can hop over the fireball with his overhead and space out a good jump in case he throws another one. But obviously, like I said, Jubei can counter all that. So if you jump in, he can parry it. He can jump back medium. You know, you gotta be very careful on what you do when you jump at Jubei. Some things the Genjuro can do that a lot of characters can't do. He can DP. He can light DP punish. A lot of things characters have a hard time punishing, especially if he's enraged. If Jubei does overhead and Genjuro blocks the enraged overhead, his enraged DP will reach and clip him out of some shit. So
that's pretty good.
Yeah, that is pretty good. That's a lot of characters can't even do anything about that, so that's strong. You can put a recoil game on Jubei that he's gonna have a hard time dealing with, just for the simple fact he don't really have no invincible moves. Not a real good invincible move, you know, to stop you from doing it. Those are a few ways to get your offense going. If you stay on top of him, he has a hard time getting you off of him. So that is good. That if you stay on top of him, you can put him in like a vortex per se, or maybe just keep him guessing. Then you can see the Jubei struggling, but you have to get there first. And by the time you get there, if the Jubei is really strong, you done lost half your life anyway. So not much to say about that, really, to me. Obviously, y'all know if Jubei is enraged, he has the slowest. Is it the slowest?
The timer is one of the longest.
Yeah.
Also,
like to get it. He has
one of the longest timers.
In order to get his rage, he has one of the slowest. Oh, that's another thing about Hanzo that I didn't know, is that he's also building his rage is really slow.
Yeah. A lot of the characters with really long timers have slow build too.
There's a character that breaks that, and I'm gonna get to him.
Oh yeah, don't worry. Yeah,
about to say there's about to be a controversial matchup in here somewhere. I mean, everybody's seen Jubei cook. Everybody's seen him do his thing. So I play Jubei as well, so I know a lot about that character. Yeah, and I play Kyosho and Hanzo. Me and Paintball play a lot of different characters just so we can learn matchups. So, you know, it's not like everything I'm saying I have no clue what the fuck I'm talking about. But if you are a character specialist, you're gonna know more stuff about the matchup than I know. So, moving on, we got Paintbot's boy, Mr. Tama.
Your favorite.
I can't tell y'all how many times I done lost to this character. This character, honestly, this is a bad matchup, but the more and more I play it, I feel like it's winnable. It's just one of those matchups where you can't play Genjuro like how Genjuro's supposed to be played. You have to be unorthodox. You have to play it very unorthodox. So everybody should know by now, if you watch, if you're a subscriber to Paintbot's channel, or if you follow his channel, that Mr. Tom has a dead zone, and he has a lot of things that are very punishable. That, you know, this character is one of the truest scrub killing characters I've ever seen. This character is a scrub killing character, tried and true. Scrub killer. Because if you don't know how to fight this character and you don't know intricate details about this character, you will have a hard time fighting this character, matchup or no matchup. So with Genjuro, he don't have too many things he can put on Tam Tam without losing life to get there, right? And what's really frustrating about this matchup is by the time he gets there, if you don't make it work, you have to fight all over again to get there, because Tam Tam actually has good options of getting away from you and making it really ambiguous on how you're supposed to pressure him. So he's got his kicks where he flies backwards, they're invincible, and they go full screen. He's got his instant air to jump heavy. You know, he might mix it up on you. He might just backdash, or and
mash the sweep.
Yeah, or just mash sweep. Yeah, I mean, and there's answers to all these problems, but the problem is they're very specific answers, and there's no one size fits all. And then if you do have the right read on Tam Tam, you give him rage when you hit him and you're beating him. So you're finally like, oh yeah, man, I'm in. I can finally do something, right? And then Tam Tam was like, dang, I've been getting beat up. Maybe I should just fill up my rage bar and just kill you on every option that you try, right? Everything gets killed by that rage. Everything. There's nothing Genjuro does or goes for that won't lose to the rage. So when Tam Tam's in rage, this matchup becomes very fucked up, because Tam Tam really have a hard time pressuring you, right? Like, he has a hard time getting in on people, because that's not what he's supposed to do. He's supposed to poke you. He's supposed to put that hitbox out there. Another thing worth noting on Genjuro's side is a lot of Tam Tam's buttons are very whiff punishable, and you can whiff punish them, but the difficulty that comes in whiff punishing is when you're trying to whiff punish, you don't want to make your hurtbox, fat, right? So you don't want to crouch a lot when you're trying to whiff punish somebody. And the problem with that versus Tam Tam is he has that 2C that goes to China. So you always have to account for that, and that will force you to change how you move. And if you're not ready for it, if the Tam Tam's savvy and they've been playing for a while, they're gonna know how to counter they're gonna know how to throw that 2C when you're not ready for it, right? So with punishing Tam Tam, is still difficult in the sense that if that's the only thing you're looking for, you're gonna be open to a 2C. And if you're not very focused on all aspects of Tam Tam and all his options, then you're not gonna be ready for like simple shit like him throwing the skulls or him throwing the unsafe fireball, because you can run up and punish that fireball very heavily, but he can always change the range on it and make you run into it just on you reacting to it alone. So there's no real like, oh, if he does this, I'm in, versus Tam Tam. Everything's subjective. Everything's debatable on how you're gonna get in on this character, right? So you gotta be very careful. And like I said, once you're beating him up, going back to what I was saying earlier, he's got rage, right? So the fucked up part about Tam Tam when he has rage is when you lose your weapon. Well, let's start about how he's gonna land it, right? You don't want to let Tam Tam just run at you, right? So you're gonna do pokes. You're gonna try to get in on him. You're gonna try to like prevent him from getting in on you, and you're gonna like backdash. Maybe you're gonna try to sometimes jump back just to bait a throw. Like, you don't want to get thrown, right? So, or maybe you'll dodge preemptively. But the problem is when he's running at you, if you try any of those things and he just waits, he's close to you and he can still keep his poke game, and he keeps his sweep and his overhead mix-up after he's gotten in on you if you just sit there, right? So now you sitting there is a risk, because he might just decide to throw you, or if you're trying to back up, he's gonna whiff punish you. I mean, not whiff punish. He's gonna catch your legs, or if you just sit there, he's gonna do the instant air overhead and clip you. And if some people don't know this, but if Tam Tam hits you while you're crouching, you can't retaliate. He's 2+ unless you have Eason. So you don't want to get hit by these things. So you're gonna like run, or you're gonna try to attack him, which is gonna open you up for your weapon flipping for his weapon flipping technique. So 100%, if Tam Tam hits you with that weapon flipping technique, you might as well pack it up. You might as well pack it up. You could be a god and try to make that comeback. But if you have a life lead, you can make the comeback, because what Tam Tam likes to do, if you haven't seen it, is when he weapon flips you, he sets up his Bagana, and it does hella chip, and it pushes you away from your weapon, and it has a ridiculous hitbox. But there is a hurt box above it. What is it? Above his head?
Yeah.
So if you can like jump, if you get a read on it and you jump, neutral jump, sometimes you can hit him on the way down and hit him out of it. But that don't mean you get your weapon. That just means you averted the insta lose, right? So you still gotta guess, and the man still got like ridiculous pokes, and you can't punish him this time. So you're gonna have to really make a hard read and scare the Tam Tam. So it makes it very difficult. It's like this matchup is almost always determined by how well the Tam Tam can poke, use his rage, and keep a life lead. And as far as Genjuro, what your win goal is to stay on top of the Tam Tam, keep him guessing, and never stay in his dead zone, and never allow him to basically just get started, you know. And when he has rage, that just comes down to player, man. There's no right or wrong answer. I can't find a right or wrong answer to prevent his rage drive from not rage drive, but rage art from rage art? Yeah, rage art. Yeah, weapon flip technique. Yeah, dang, got Tekken on the mind, yo. I played too much Tekken. You can't really stop it. You can only guess, and that's fucked up, because Genjuro, his weapon flipping technique is irrelevant in this matchup, in my opinion, because by the time you try to get in and land it, the Tam Tam, if he wanted to, could just, because it doesn't anti-air, he could always just force you into a situation where you have to just take the damage and not use your weapon flipping technique. And then sometimes, depending on how your uppercut hits the Tam Tam jumping back or backdashing, it won't give you the full damage, right? Which is another flaw of Genjuro. When you anti-air or you land your DP, depending on the height, it won't give you that much damage. It'll give you like the equivalent of a kick. So you made this godlike reaction on the anti-air and you got a kick out of it. Obviously, the opponent can make that up very quickly if they do land a jump in. So you have to be very careful on how you try to catch Tam Tam trying to run away from you. And that's really all I got to say about this matchup, man.
Oh, that's all you got to say about that?
Yeah, man.
That's it? You don't have nothing else to say?
I hate it. I fucking hate this matchup.
It sounds like you said a lot about it.
Yeah. You're right. I hate this matchup, but you can win this matchup. It's not impossible. The Tam Tam can be very uncomfortable sometimes. It's not like you can't put the Tam Tam in bad situations. It's just by the time you get to those bad situations, you're making the Tam Tam stronger, and it's very hard to get there. So this next character, very similar to Tam Tam, and we got the Headless Charlotte. Now with Charlotte, Charlotte is almost the same deal as Tam Tam, but there's a few key things that make her better than Tam Tam and make her harder to fight than Tam Tam. So, actually, you know, I feel like Tam Tam's harder to fight, or they might be equal. It's just
two different reasons.
It's just different reasons. So, Charlotte, her fadeaway jump shot is ridiculous. I don't know if anybody watch basketball, but if you can't stop the fadeaway, which is jump back, medium slash, or
heavy slash,
you have no pressure on this character. You have nothing to offer her. You know, she's not gonna take. You can't pay for the dinner when you take her out on a date. You know, she has nothing to say to you if you can't deal with her jump back medium. And what makes the jump back medium so pivotal in this matchup is by the time you have fought all the geometrical equations to get in on this character, and all her pokes and her godlike buttons, you have to make the hardest of reads to get her to stop jumping on away from you or towards you. And that's where at high level, that's where this matchup gets really fucked up, because once you establish that she's gonna jump away from you, she can then jump at you and be just as dangerous jumping at you once you get in. So there's like 3 phases to this matchup. There's the geometrical phase, when you're getting around the triangles, you're getting around the bayonet lunge, and you finally, either she messes up and you punish her, or you finally get the right read and you preemptively hit her out of her stuff. Once you do that, now you have the second phase, which is the what is she gonna do? Is she gonna run from me? Is she gonna sit there? Or is she gonna be the aggressor? Because what's interesting about this character is obviously her jump C is a cross up, her fadeaway jump shot medium slash, and her 5K that goes over lows, which they nerfed, but it's still strong, right? So when you're approaching this character, there is no right or wrong answer. There's only what you believe the Charlotte is gonna do. And obviously we're playing tournament Charlotte, right? So if this is a high level Charlotte, she's gonna mix up her options. She's gonna kind of be able to tell what you want to do, and she's gonna just outpoke you, because you're not playing Charlotte at a high level unless you got good footsies, you know. When I fight a lot of low level Charlottes, they jump a lot, right? And that gives me a lot of opportunities to uppercut and get the life lead. But if the Charlotte is a very high level, intelligent thinking Charlotte, they're gonna really focus on their ground game. They're gonna poke you. They're gonna keep their life lead. And in this matchup, the life lead is everything in this matchup. If Genjuro lands 1-2C, that could mean everything to the Charlotte, because now Charlotte has to get in on Genjuro. And Charlotte trying to get in on Genjuro is not as scary as Charlotte trying to run away from Genjuro, right? So vice versa, if she gets a huge life on lead on me, I have to do all these hard reads. I have to react to all this stuff just to get near her. And after I've done that, I have to make one read. And if she guesses right, which that one read is not in my favor at all. The one read is something I have to do super risky just to get her to sit still. So, and if she guesses right, then what happens is she takes a life lead. She gets to do what Charlotte does, put the geometry equations on you, and just sit back and chill. So you're trying to make her as uncomfortable as possible. You're trying to walk in her house. You're trying to take food out of her refrigerator. You're trying to dirty up her couch. You're trying to make her as uncomfortable as possible and not want to just sit there and make her make bad decisions. And really, this matchup is really just up to the Charlotte player on how she decides to deal with you and get away from you. So when you're fighting this matchup, you have to play like a fucking madman. Really, it looks crazy. A lot of people outside looking in when Genjo's fighting Charlotte will be like, oh, why would he do that? Or that was so silly. He didn't have to do that. But in reality, she has an uppercut, so she can disrespect any of your not strings, but your pressure. And she can make just as hard reads as Genjuro. So really, no read is a bad read unless it's uneducated. If you felt like it was going to work, you need to go for it. Because if you don't go for it, your life is going to slowly chip away. And there's a lot of stuff to keep in mind. I didn't even mention her rage. I mean, not her rage. Yeah, her weapon flipping technique will anti-air a lot of situations if you try to jump away from her. So let's say you're winning, you have a life lead, and she has rage. When she's running at you, it is a very scary situation, because if you do try to jump back or jump at her, she can punish you heavily for it, and you'll lose your life lead, and you won't get it back. You won't get it back. And if you're in chip range, that splash font is fucked up. because she just has to wait. She's not gonna do it immediately on your wake up because you can uppercut out. But if she waits and then does it, you are in a fucked up mix up. So just keep all those things in mind in this matchup. All right, moving on. One of my most hated characters, Earthquake. I hate this character. Character's ugly. I don't like looking at this character. I don't like his sound effects.
I like how they got Earthquake in the whole picture, but they couldn't.
Yeah, Earthquake is like one of the tallest motherfuckers in this thing, and you can see all of him.
Yeah, he can see the whole
You see him scowling at me like, I don't like you either. I hate this character. A lot of my friends play this character, and I'm thankful for that because I know the matchup now. And Genjuro definitely wins this matchup. The only thing that Earthquake really scares Genjuro with is his range, his weapon flipping technique, which I don't know if y'all noticed. I keep saying that a lot, right? Weapon flipping technique. And really just him being able to punish a lot of Genjuro stuff very consistently, and his weapon, his SSM going really far actually. It don't seem like it goes far, but it'll punish my record. It's pretty good. So with this character, the reason he struggles against Genjuro is because a lot of his best pressure tools or his best game plan, like his game plan, involves him being in the air or him throwing out very unsafe things, and Genjuro can punish all of it. Every single thing he can punish, even the flame breath. If you want, like if he tries to kick in the flame breath, you can interrupt with DP. And if you have enraged DP, you can block it and then enrage DP, and he has to hold that. So when you're fighting this character, when this character is fighting Genjuro, he has to be very careful on all his options. He has to basically not do what everybody picked the character to do, which is just jump around and do stupid shit.
I mean, you're not wrong.
Right? That don't mean he doesn't have tools to fight this matchup. I think he does have tools to fight. However, just if you're not the kind of Earthquake, or if you're not willing to just sit there and take extremely low risk all the time and block all of Genjuro's mix-ups and be very mindful of everything Genjuro can do to you, you're gonna struggle hard because Genjuro has all kind of crazy mix-ups on this character, especially with his card basically being unfuckwittable in this matchup because of how tall Earthquake is. You just gotta hold all that pressure, you know, and just hope when you get your weapon flip you can land it on a Genjuro and force him to do something unsafe. But the Genjuro don't have to do anything. This is one of the few matchups where Genjuro doesn't have to do anything, really.
Yeah. I
could just sit there and let Earthquake kill himself, and I'm gonna punish him as hard as he's ever. Actually, fun fact, if Earthquake does Farsi and I block it, I can get a medium record punish.
Oh, really? So he has to do
every
something.
time. And then if he wants to recoil cancel, I can run up
DP.
in DP. So even that is gonna get checked by Genjuro. So you have to be very careful on all your options. You don't get to just run your shit on Genjuro as Earthquake. So I don't really have much else to talk about that matchup. I'm sure Earthquake players don't like that matchup either.
I can think of a few. I can think of a guy.
This character is like, this next character, I have a hard time. I want to say it's even, but I'm going to put unfavorable. And there's one reason I'm going to say unfavorable. She does everything that Genjuro does, right? She's got an overhead low mix-ups. She's got the stand low special move. So she can mix you up, right? And her recoil game is very strong as well because she can recoil in the DP. She can recoil in a teleport in case you decide to retaliate and make it whiff. She can do a lot of cool things. Her rage is ridiculous. Her weapon flipping is ridiculous in that option select. But the key thing that makes this matchup hard is her standing medium slash goes further than any poke Genjuro got.
And it's cancelable.
And it's cancelable. And it will combo on a weapon flip from anywhere. So
on you anyway.
Yeah. So as far as Genjuro goes, he don't have too many options to really approach her, which is fucked up because of her run speed and her backdash and her jump buttons. It's really hard to do anything to her without it being without a whiffing or without running into her medium slash. So you almost have to just wait it out, and you almost have to play her like Earthquake, but Earthquake with a really solid offense.
Yeah.
And that sucks because she got so many mix-ups. Ain't no way you reacting to all of it. And she does just as much damage as Genjuro, free.
And she's faster.
And every Shiki, most Shiki players are anime players anyway, so they know the safe jumps.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
So because they got the safe jumps, you can't get out of it.
I never thought about it, but you're right.
They all know the safe jump. Like any good, they all know the safe jumps. Because they know the cheese, man. They know the good shit. So as Genjuro, you can't even disrespect on wake up with your DP because a lot of her pressure ends in the safe jump. So now if you want to get some offense started, you got to take a risk. Obviously, he's risky, but the risk won't get you as much as when she pressures you safely with that medium slash and that cross up and her overhead and her low. And her throw game, ridiculous. Throw game, ridiculous. That run game is ridiculous. So, gotta be very careful on how you fight this character. You basically have to have godlike reactions and very fast decision making. While she is just running her set play offense. The only thing Genjuro got over her is when you hit her, it hurts. Just like her hitting you. But it especially hurts for her because the only way for her to make it back is to put herself in a situation where you can punish her again. So it's like a weird back and forth that she initiates. You don't initiate the back and forth. She initiates, y'all enter scramble mode, and then y'all kind of play it out. And whoever comes out on top will probably win that round. Because it's very hard for both these characters to make a comeback on each other. Because obviously Genjuro got a DP, he's got a 3D, the whiff punish her medium slash. He's got some good shit to keep her away. It's just she's so fast, you might get clipped by running medium slash into whatever. So you gotta be careful. Next up is the boy Aru's character. Yoshitora, or should I say Goro's character. This character, I have a lot of respect for everybody that plays this character. It seems like a derpy character that just does shit, but really this character is all about making reads and managing your flowers, being very resourceful and confirming. And all those things are very hard to do in this game because most of the best characters in this game are heavily poked characters that negate all of that shit. So obviously you're just gonna have a hard time with that naturally. But Genjuro don't have a problem with this character really, except for maybe if you get random out, which is what happened to me at KIT. But really, if you lose this matchup as Genjuro, it's only because the Yoshitora had really good reads on you and you didn't react fast enough to everything he does, because Genjuro can react to basically everything he does and punish it, except his EX Nadeshiko and his what is it, Tsubaki, the incident? The whiff he could whiff cancel his universal overhead in special move.
You're talking about
Botan, yeah. So Botan's interesting. It's very punishable and everything, but between when he has enraged Tsubaki and Botan, it's a guess. It's a hard guess because you might naturally just block low.
You talking about Nadeshiko?
Yeah, Nadeshiko.
So the Nadeshiko Botan mix up.
Yeah. You might just block low on Nadeshiko, and then here comes a Botan. You're not ready for it.
And it hurts too.
And it hurts like a mug because enraged, right? And then he gets his flower, and you have to keep up with his 7 sword flowers and all whatnot. But Genjuro can just uppercut out of a lot of his shit. And because he's so punishable on everything, he'll eat an SSM punish. He might eat Genjuro's Enrage 5C or 2C. Genjuro can clip him coming in a lot. If he tries to go for the armor move, Genjuro can fuck that up completely. He can DP out of a lot of his pressure. EX Nadeshiko actually has a gap in between it, so you can block the first part and DP the second part. I mean, it might just be better to block it anyway, but it's kind of tricky punishing it at the end.
It's medium punishable. You just have to be ready for it.
You have to be ready for it, yeah. So, this character got to make a lot of reads and has to take a lot of risks to even get near Genjuro. And when he takes those risks, if the Genjuro can react, they're not real. None of it's real. He has like no real pressure against Genjuro. So it's really hard for Yoshitora to get anything started in this matchup. But he's fun to watch because both Genjuro has to let Yoshitora do something.
Yeah.
So unlike poke characters, they can just stop him from doing anything, but the Genjuro has to allow Yoshitora to do something, or else he's playing unsafe and the Yoshitora just punishes it, right? So they both kind of do the same thing if you think about it, except Yoshitora, his answers versus Genjuro are not as easily solved as Genjuro, in my opinion. Which is fun. It's a fun matchup. I'm sure Yoshitoras don't like it though. They don't like getting uppercutted 1,000 times. This next one, I thought real long and hard about this one, and I hate this one. But I'm gonna put this one all the way up top.
Okay, this is the one I was waiting for.
Yeah. This matchup is so fucked up, in my opinion. And I fought this matchup a lot. And I mostly win against Yashamaru. I actually fought Yashamaru this morning, and I won. But the fucked up part about this matchup is I don't get to do anything as Genjuro, period. I can only wait. And I can only allow the Yashamaru to do shit.
Yeah.
I can't do it. There's nothing.
You can't.
There's nothing I can do to the Yashamaru that he can't easily deal with by just playing Yashamaru how you're supposed to play Yashamaru. And I guess you're saying like, what? What does that mean? So when I envision Yashamaru, if I ever fought a Yashamaru that just decided to double jump me all day and never truly approach me, I have nothing that will deter him from his game plan. So like, for example, I got an uppercut, right? The Yashamaru's double jump is high enough that even if 9 times out of 10 it's gonna whiff, the medium version will whiff. So I have to do the heavy version. The heavy version is 13 frame startup, extremely slow. And after Yashamaru double jumps, he will fall a lot of times backwards. And my DP will either whiff or clip him on the back fall, which will only give me like
30 damage.
30 damage, if that. So after making a hard reaction on his double jump and being tilted the whole game, trying to hold my anti-airs back from his double jump, because I have to react to however he jumps, I get 30 damage into a mix-up that if he blocks it, or actually there's no mix-up, because if I try to run up and do a safe jump off of that DP and he blocks it, then everything I do from there, if blocked, will get punished heavy by his medium and the slash.
Yeah, and that shit hurts.
And it hurts like crazy. And once he punishes me, if the Yashamaru knows a safe jump, or if he just like double jumps anyway and baits my DP, I have nothing for him. There's nothing for him to even deter him from doing what he's supposed to do. the double jump in this matchup basically decides everything. All of Genjiro's decisions are based off the double jump. And let's not talk about how he has a low recoil 2C, which is gross as fuck. Having a low recoil 2C is fucking ridiculous.
Yeah,
because
it's cheap. You have to guess.
Even if he does, well, what's really cheap is it goes far. It's 2 hits. And even if he does, even if I do block it, the recoil is made in a way that if he recoils, the spacing is out of range for my heavy DP.
You can't even DP it.
So I can't even DP the recoil, which is like one of Genjiro's unique strengths. Is if Genjuro recoils somebody and they try to retaliate, he can react DP. Or if that other person has an uppercut and they uppercut, Genjiro's DP will win. So all these characters on here that I've listed, like Charlotte, Shiki, Haomaru, Kyoshiro, Yoshitora, and Shizu down here, if I do a recoil on them and they try to uppercut through my recoil, which is always a good option. If you have an uppercut and they recoil, you don't want to take the mix up, just uppercut the mix up. Because it's going to punish anyway, and if they cancel anything, it's going to punish. But if they try to DP me back, I will go through their uppercut and win. Almost without fail. Sometimes it'll trade due to the timing, but if I get the right timing, I'll beat all of these uppercuts, right? So, I mean, what you're asking me, why is that relevant with Yashamaru has no uppercut? Yashamaru, the recoil is so far, I can't uppercut. So that means if he goes for the 2C, I have to, if I want to challenge it, I have to run at him, maybe try to uppercut, or maybe try to do a jab DP, or maybe do a run low. But he can cancel into a dash straight, basically his little lunge. And that lunge will beat the run. It'll hit me out of it, right? Because you can't block while you're running. And not only that, when it goes to the other side, my punish is a DP. That's the best I can get, which is good. The DP punish is good, you know what I mean? But his recoil mix-ups are just as gross as my recoil mix-up. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, just because it's spacing.
And the card, let's not even talk about, the card does not exist in this matchup, because the card, when he's in the air, the card is gonna get punished by his the one time he can use it. The
sword throw?
The sword throw is good against Genjuro. The one time. And actually, Rizzo, shout outs to Rizzo, he showed me that if I do it on the ground, he can react, jump, and throw it. So there's really no, so he eliminated my card. I can't do the cross up because he's in the air.
Can't command throw.
Can't command throw because he's in the air. Uppercut is irrelevant because it does 30 damage because I have to hit him at the very last frame, right? Now, if you double jump towards me and I get the anti-air, that's on you. You didn't have to do it. You see what I'm saying? I know a lot of people saying, well, if I jump at you, you can uppercut, but you don't have to jump at me. This is what I'm saying. I can't make Yashamaru do anything. So if you jump at me, that's on you. Nobody told you to jump at me. There's other ways for your approach. So, what is that, 75% of my move list?
Yeah.
Is useless.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, pretty much. The only move that's even useful is and it's only because it's
that's trash too.
It's just trash normal.
That's just trash just because that shit's garbage. So that's only if you sleeping. Like, you know how you sleep? You know how you catch the monster sleeping in Monster Hunter and you do extra damage?
Yeah.
That's only if you sleeping. So if the Yashamaru is on point and they're a high level Yashamaru player, they recognize all these things and they just either run the clock or they frustrate you so much that when they do decide to go in, it's very educated. You're gonna have to block it or it's a punish.
Yeah.
And you have the life lead. So then let's go to the next phase. When I attack Yoshimaru, and let's say I'm making all these godlike reads. Oh, this Genjuro's a nut. He's doing crazy ass DPs, or he actually caught him when he stood on the ground, right? What's fucked up about this character is, did you know Yoshimaru builds rage faster than Genjuro?
No way. Man, his last one.
Did you know that?
No, I didn't know that.
Yoshimaru builds rage faster than... Somebody fact check me. I just checked it, but if you could fact check me, Yoshimaru builds rage faster than Genjuro. And not only that, his lasts longer. So, yes, his weapon flipping is trash. And yes, he has a very punishable cross-up. And if I'm in the corner, it's not a real cross-up, right?
Yeah.
However, his enraged punishes outweigh anything I got.
Just a random heavy.
Like, let's just say he's in the air and I try to jump up air to air, which I should never do because I'm gonna lose. That's dumb as fuck for me to do it. But let's say I'm like, I gotta make a read to do something, right? So let's say I make a read on his jump and I try to preemptively hit his jump. Depending on what button he's pressed, what button I press, if that button's enraged, you would have thought the dude landed a full combo. Right?
Yeah.
So no matter what life lead you have, if you try to jump out of his mix-up, like he might try to do the run overhead, or he might try to do the run slide, or you don't want him to throw you, so you try to jump out or you try to backdash. If he clips you, it was like a full combo. If you DP, if he double jumps and you get baited into a DP, he gets an Isen punish with the double heavies.
Yeah, it does an Isen amount of damage.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? I'm not gonna say Isen, damn it. A weapon flip. It's like he hit me with a weapon flip, and he still has it. He still has it. And if I get hit by that, I get my rage, right? My shit lasts 7 seconds.
So it's funny you said that. Buster Wolf in the chat says Yoshimaru's last 14 seconds.
14 seconds.
So
it's double my rage. So it's double my rage. It does more damage than anything I can do. And he's not on the ground, right? So there's nothing Genjuro can do except burn my rage DP. Do like, okay, enraged DP might give me a 120 damage, right? So do my enraged DP, clip him, lose my rage, run at him while he's enraged, and guess. And you know the best part is, he might bomb out the cross up.
Yeah, then he'll get you.
And catch me.
Which is the same mix-up you got, but better.
Exactly. Oh, and then when I pop Isen, so let's say, all right, man, I need to make a comeback. He burned his rage second round because he didn't want to lose. So I got my rage because I'm smart and I kept it. Fuck it. Time to burn it, right? My man started jumping like crazy while I have Isen. Why is he jumping like crazy? Because at any moment, he could bait my Isen like this man right here, public enemy #1, Shizumaru. Not to say he's as good as Shizumaru. Clearly, this character is not Shizumaru tier. But in this matchup, he might as well be, because he can do the same baits and deal the same damage from my fuck-ups, or from my misreads, or from my misreactions, you know what I mean? So, I don't really think, I would love to hear how Yoshimaru's feel about this matchup, because they may feel something different. But when I look at Yoshimaru, ideally, like what would make me feel like I can't fight him is that double jump and his damage. That alone, to me, puts him in unfavorable right there, right? Then what puts him what makes him very unfavorable is his rage abilities and his abilities to bait Isen. So his abilities to remove my comeback mechanic, right? So that's why I got him as the only unfavorable. It's not because I think Yoshimaru's gross. I don't think he's top tier. I think when I have to come up with a game plan for this character, it really just comes to, hopefully he fucks up. And hopefully I make the right read. And you can't win That's like the worst scenario in a tournament match.
Yeah.
That's like
I gotta make a read.
That's like the dumbest shit you could go into a tournament match with. If you're trying to win a tournament, that would be like going to work. I'm an electrician, right? That'd be like me going to work with plumber tools. I'm not a fucking plumber. Why am I doing electrical work with plumbing tools? That doesn't make sense, right?
Yeah.
So this matchup, just Genjuro is not equipped with the tools to fight Yoshimaru personally. That's how I feel. So enough of that. That was long-winded.
Yeah, well, you had that in you for a while though.
Yeah. I understand, and I have beat Yoshimaru's, and I know Yoshimaru players who feel like Genjuro wins that matchup, but I just think they off the wall wrong, man. But maybe they have something that I don't know, But that's just how I feel. Anyway, enough of that. Very unfavorable, by the way, just means if y'all both the same skill level, then you more than likely you're not winning that shit. You're not winning that shit. Here we go. Darlie. Darlie's next. All you see is tits and a sword. Oh man.
Okay, Darlie.
Okay, so with Darlie, I play Darlie as well. I actually like this character a lot. Darlie struggles in this matchup hard, man. She struggles so hard. So I don't have a very unfavorable, very favorable. Excuse me. I don't have a very favorable slot here, but I would imagine if I was a Darlie player and I had to have a very unfavorable, it might be Genjuro, right? But I'm gonna just put it as favorable for now. She really, her offense is, normally her offense is jump C, right?
Yeah.
But Genjuro beats that clean with uppercut every time.
Yeah.
You don't even have to think about it.
Yeah.
Whiff cancel summon a jump C.
Yeah.
If she run at you, whatever you whiff, she'll probably run into it, right? Whatever she tries to go for, it's gonna get punished, right?
Yeah.
Her rage, unlike everybody else I'd mentioned for the most part, is just as low as Genjuro's.
Yeah.
So she don't even get to abuse the fact that her rage lasts a long time, right? So her weapon flip is not even a thing. Because she gotta run at you really and scare you or throw you to get it. And if you're just playing Genjuro correctly, you're not worried about that. You can throw the card. You can actually throw the card in this matchup too. That's another thing. And she's gonna struggle against that. A key factor to this matchup is damage. One thing Darlie can do is she can dish the damage. And she can dish it fast by repeated run mix-ups. But those repeated run mix-ups, you just gotta pick. Am I gonna block overhead or low? If I block one, my life lead. You know what I mean? And then she has to try to get in. So it's almost like in this matchup, I'm Jubei or I'm Charlotte to her.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. DP just bust in.
And I could mix her up just as hard as she want to mix me up. She can either cross up every once in a while. She's so focused on getting in on me. The cross up is OD. Like last minute cross up is almost unblockable in my opinion. It really is. Recoil, she has no options against my recoil game at all.
No.
Everything's punishable. She don't have no invincible move. Even if she goes for weapon flipping technique after recoil, you can SSM through it. So she really ain't got no options. Or if I don't have SSM, I could DP through it. It's not a big deal. I really struggle to see her options in this matchup. I'm sure Darlie players have figured something out. Shout outs to the Darlie Discord. They actually have their own Discord, and it's pretty OD as far as information. And they talk a lot. One of the things about that is like, they hate this matchup, man. Every Darlie player I talk to hates this matchup. And I don't know how far it's developed because I haven't fought. Maybe you can ask Jacko about it. Probably should run a set against him and see what he thinks about it. But this matchup is so difficult in my opinion. She just don't get the rock, man. And her game plan that she has to switch to is just so punishable. It's whatever. Next one is Miss Wu. I'm gonna put this at even actually. I'm gonna put Wu at even. And I'll say Wu is even. Only she's either even or 5.5 in Genjiro's favor. So if I had to say really who would win overall, if I had to pick a winner, it would be Genjuro. But I feel like it's even because let's say me and the Wu grinded this matchup really hard. I feel like it would only come down to reads.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be there's nothing in this matchup that both of us can do and abuse.
Yeah.
We can't abuse anything. There's nothing to abuse here. So there's only reads and pressure. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
maybe the Wu has like safe roll setups and stuff that she can just do guaranteed, but she still can't put me in a scenario that I can't deal with unless she does a rage mix-up. But once again, if I really flesh this matchup out, I feel like once I know what the setups are, I just avoid the setups and then we're fine. You see what I'm saying? So obviously she might catch you off guard not knowing all the tech traps and the roll and the Isen or the unblockable setups, but she can't fuck with Genjuro damage wise.
No.
Period, right? And
unless it's like the tech.
Yeah, right?
Unless it's like her tech setup or something.
Unless she knows some shit that you just don't know about.
And you get hit by some gross shit.
Yeah, damage wise, whatever she does, if I get the right read and I jump in on her or if I punish her, she's so far behind immediately. So she's not a comeback character unless she burn her resources, which is not good because if I get around and then she needs to make a comeback and she burns the resources, now you looking at Wu Rei Shang without a rage bar, and that's just not scary at all.
Yeah.
Like her punishment game on Genjuro is just as good, but the reads she makes, she's a zoner, right? So she's just zoning me. And if she's zoning me, it's up to me as Genjuro the player to not get hit. It's not something that she can control. It's more like she just controls that space and I decide whether or not I want to deal with that. So in this matchup, I feel like fleshed out is even, but if anything, Genjuro might win it. But I'll just put it as even for now. Yeah, it's too close to call. This matchup is trash for her. And she ain't even got a white background. You see that? It's OD. Dang. That's how special this character is.
Who made this tier list? Who made this tier chart?
Miss Rimuru over here. She's a setup heavy. She don't play Samsho, in my opinion. Which is not true. Obviously, she's in the game, so she has to play Samsho, but she's not your traditional Samurai Shodown character. And that actually plays into Genjuro's favor. Because while she's trying to be active and use her platforms and control space on the map and everything, I could just uppercut through all that shit. And then I can, a lot of her stuff. I'm one of the, I don't, what's up, man? Somebody subscribed, I guess. I heard Tam Tam scream in my ear. Somebody follow some shit.
Smile followed.
Smile?
Smile 64.
Alright, Smile 64, appreciate it, man. I know Paintball appreciates it. If Rimuru does her, what's it, her running C? What's the little thing she does a sweep and jumps backwards?
Oh, running D.
Running D. That's like one of the few safe things she can do, right? If she does that,
On Genjuro.
on Genjuro, I get a 2C every time. I don't even have to think about it. Up, blocked it, 2C, boom. Life lead. How you gonna come back? You gonna throw some ice? I ain't gotta deal with the ice. I ain't gotta deal with the ice. You gonna run and slide at? You gonna run at me? With your low health having ass? There's like nothing she can do that well, she got good knockdown setups, right?
Yeah.
Great knockdown setups. And she can bait you with the ice platform. But in the long run, I have more opportunities to really fuck her up than she does me.
Yeah.
And this is not like anime games or other games where the pressure is like guaranteed. All her mix-ups are not guaranteed. And it's on the Rimuru player to recognize her spacing, to recognize her movement. Somebody else follow. What's up, man? Appreciate you. It's on her to be a godlike player. She has to be strong. She has to be very educated on the matchup. She has to understand the game mechanics to a T.
Yeah.
She has to read her opponent, and she has to be meter management heavy, right? So all I need to do as Genjuro is punish when it's my turn, control my ranges, and take very little risk. If I do that, then this matchup is like hard. It's very difficult for her, man. Very difficult. And if I was a Rimuru player, once again, I don't have a very favorable slot here, but if I was a Rimuru, this would be very unfavorable for me from her. If I'm trying to look at her perspective, but there are things. So Coach does a good job of developing this character, and there's another Rimuru. I can't think of his name right now, but I wonder. I would love to bounce some ideas off of them as well and see what they think about this, because they may have figured out some stuff that Genjuro can't deal with. You know.
I just think the fact that you can punish it.
Damn near at 2. If Genjuro can punish with 5C and 2C,
you're fucked.
It's heavy in his favor, man. It's like it's very hard. Well, not in his favor, but it's a huge deficit. That's why you'll see me when I play, I throw it out in neutral a lot, just to catch somebody running or catch somebody jumping back. Because if it hits, I gain a lot, man. And if they block it, then I get a recoil mix up. So Genjuro's 2C and 5C are strong tools, man. Very strong. Probably like some of his best buttons. Like if I had to think of Genjuro's 3 best buttons, it'd probably be 2C number 1, a 3D number 2, because it's whiff cancelable and it has a ridiculous hitbox, and 5C as a punish. Those are like his 3 best buttons. Honorable mention is 2B, but 2B gets jumped in on. It's not whiff cancelable, and it's got a lot of recovery. So I'm not a fan right now of 2B. It's a good closeout though. Like if people are trying to back away from me, it's good to close people out, but it's not gonna win you a game all the time.
Oh, there's not much to say about that match.
Yeah, there's not much to say, man. She got a risk of life. This one's interesting. I thought about this one really hard. Basara. Man. I'm gonna put it even, just because I don't know. Oh, I switched Earthquake for no reason. Where's Basara? There we go. All right, so I got Basara up here as even, and simply Basara's even to me because while everything's reactable that he does, and he has low life, the one thing that I feel like Basara's don't value enough is his feints. And I understand why they feel that way too. Because you get it right. If you just, they throw the feint and you just happen to clip them, it hurts a lot. But for me, Basara being able to punish a lot of Genjuro stuff, poke safely with the 2B and the 5B, and anti-air very consistently. He got a great anti-air in that little up thing.
Yeah.
That shit is a good anti-air. It really makes it so Genjuro has the weight on his approach, and every time I approach incorrectly, the life lead is gone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then if I approach incorrectly and he knocks me down, he gets a mix up.
Yeah.
And if I eat that mix up,
you're behind.
I'm so far behind that it's like very hard. But vice versa, if I get the right read or I preemptively guess right, he getting fucked up. Every time. He getting fucked up. Got to be careful when he has weapon flip because he can wake up with it, but he can't throw into it.
No.
So that's not a threat.
Unless he does the Oki setup with the ball.
Oh, that's true. He has to do the ball. The ball setup does hurt when he's enraged though.
Yeah.
Because if you get hit, if you just take those command grabs too many times, or if you get clipped by a 5C, you fuck. So I wouldn't say this is another one of those matchups where it could be a 5-5 if developed. I mean 5.5 for Genjuro when developed, but like I said, I haven't really grinded this matchup, so for me, I'm just going off how I feel and what I've seen. And there's a lot of back and forth in this matchup. A lot of back and forth. Sometimes I get on a 3-game win streak. Sometimes the Basara gets on a 3-game win streak. Just because the reads we're making and the game plan we're executing is followed by knowledge of what the player wants to do. So for me, it's a 5-5. I'm sure Basara players might not feel that way, because as a Basara player, when you're getting dunked by Genjuro 5C and you're getting jumped in on, or you're getting command grabbed in the mix, you're gonna feel like shit just because. Same thing with Ukio, like when your shit's not working and you're getting 5C, you're gonna feel like your character is not doing that well. Just because Genjuro, when he lands that button, it's like all he did when he was training with Haramaru, Caffeine, Nicotine was run that one, just run 5C. Just sitting in the corner, hitting, cutting down trees with 5C. Why? Halmar's over here throwing tornadoes and shit, and he's just cutting trees with 5C. Mastering it. That's how I feel. Okay, we got 3 more left, so sorry if I'm taking up everybody's time. I know this is long-winded, man. But I feel some kind of way about some of these matchups. I got Kazuki as 5-5. Kazuki and Genjuro want to do the same thing, except Kazuki is like confirm and combo heavy, while Genjuro is just kind of like just let it hit and you'll be all right. As far as enraged, his is actually less than Genjuro, ain't it?
Yeah, it's the quickest one.
Yeah, it's 5. So he's more hard pressed to land his than mine, which I think is nice for once. And his damage output, depending on if he's got the fire or not, can be just as good. That 2C is strong as fuck, man. You're not jumping in on that. You're just not jumping in on that. It might trade, but he's still winning that trade. What else? Poke game. They don't really have a poke game. Like, because a lot of times Kazuki is full screen, and he's kind of like throwing fireballs, trying to charge up. So there's no real mid-range game going on. It's really just Genjuro. Either Genjuro's gonna approach or Kazuki's gonna approach, and just dealing with each other. You know, I don't really have too many. Oh yeah, so a lot of people don't know this, but the burning, the pants, the exploding pants. If Kazuki does that to a block string, Genjuro can punish.
So he can actually hit that.
Yeah, with medium Rekka.
I didn't know that.
And the medium Rekka lands, most of the time it lands to where you can combo. So that's huge.
Yeah.
That's big in that matchup, because if he couldn't do that, then I would give it to Kazuki, because he can pressure me safely, get away, and charge.
Yeah, but
now it's like, it's a give and take.
Yeah.
At least he has safe pressure on my wake up to where I can't uppercut out of anything. Because if he just does meaty pants every time, there's no pressure there. There's nothing. I mean, there's nothing I can do. I just gotta block it, and then we're both back to neutral. You know. So that matchup, it's a fun matchup to play. Actually, it's very like reads heavy, reads based, controlling space. You need good reactions for this matchup. If you don't have good reactions on both sides, you're both gonna struggle. It's gonna feel like the other character wins. But if you both have good reactions and you check each other properly, it's a pretty even matchup. Juan Fizzle over here. I got this as even. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna say it's in Genjuro's favor. I'm gonna say this is in Genjuro's favor.
You don't think Genjuro struggles enough?
I think so. Okay, we'll do this. Not that this goes in order or anything, but Wanfu right here. Man, I'm struggling with this one, man. I'm gonna go even. We're gonna go even. To me, it's even. Or why I thought this might have been close to Genjuro's favorite is because when he throws the pillar,
He loses.
I fucking make you pay for it, man. If I block that pillar and push block you, you lose the pillar. And then you off the screen. and you're gonna have to fight Genjuro. And yeah, he can fight with the punches and shit, but I got an uppercut to disrespect. I can hit you with my heavy if I get the right read, and you gonna eat cross-ups. So to me, it's just not worth it to throw the pillar. So for against Genjuro, unless you're gonna close out the round, if you throw the pillar on me, I'm gonna make you pay for it. And not only that, I can burst it and really fuck you up. So it's not worth it. It's like Genjuro can eliminate one of his primary moves, you know? So now, really... yeah, now what makes it even though, because it's not like Genjuro wins, but what makes it even is his pokes are strong, his sweep is strong for the same reason Tam-Tam's is, just it recoils. So it might be stronger. It might be the Yashamaru shit. So he punishes hard, just as hard as Genjuro, in my opinion. And he really don't have to take too many risks. It's just people are so obsessed with the pillar that they throw the pillar a lot. But in this matchup, if I was a Wanfu, I wouldn't throw the pillar unless I knew it was gonna kill. Yeah. Or if I wanted to force the situation. Like if it was like a situation where if I lose my weapon, I just gotta hit him like twice with my godlike normals and shit, I'd be fine with that. You can throw the pillar. But if you're like both even life, don't throw the pillar. He can outpoke Genjuro, and he can punish Genjuro pretty hard too. And he has an uppercut. And I know his uppercut's not good, but it's still an uppercut nonetheless.
Enraged is a full uppercut though.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, so Enraged is real.
Okay, so he got Enraged uppercut too. I don't know his rage values, to be honest. I don't know how long it lasts or whatever.
It's not relevant.
But I don't think it's that good. I know it's longer than Genjuro's, but
yeah, it's just average. It's both times on average.
What he can do is give him some rage.
Yeah, give some rage.
At the price of a 2C. So if you think it's worth it, you can give yourself rage, and then I could just chop you in half, and then you could fight with a big ass slash down your chest and come kill me. But there's a lot of back and forth to this matchup. It's a tedious matchup actually. It's kind of fun, and sometimes it can feel like Wanfu feels like Blanca, to be honest, man. Blanca with pokes. But I like Wanfu. It's a fun matchup. And last but not least, we got this little annoying ass kid with an umbrella that I just despise, man. I despise. I don't care what nobody says. I think he's more broken than pre-patch Genjuro, personally. Because at least pre-patch Genjuro, you didn't have to deal with somebody eliminating your Isin and somebody who could just do a move that takes half your life and you can't burst it.
Yeah, that's fucked up.
So I know Genjuro was a menace pre-patch, but this is just stupid. This is really just stupid, man. This character's dumb. Anyway, you know what? That takes nothing away from somebody like Didymokov, who plays this character, because Didymokov's a strong player anyway. So I don't like how people talk down on Shizumaru and try to discredit Didymokov's wins, because he earns those wins, and he's just a good player anyway. He doesn't earn all of them because of the character, but if he wanted to, he could probably beat those players with different characters. It's just Didymokov playing to win. You know what I mean? So we're all playing to win, but Didymokov will go the extra mile. This matchup, right? Believe it or not, as much as I hate this character, I put it at even. I put this character at even. And he's even because all that bullshit he has will get sliced up by uppercut. And for once, he has to come to me. And I can approach him, and normally he has to come to me with unsafe shit. So I like that. He has to fight me mid-range, and if he goes into the air, I can clip his wings, right? It don't do that much damage when he's max float, but if he ever comes down with anything, or if he ever comes down with that shitty spin thing, I can punish him heavy for it, right? So on his side though, when he has rage, he gets to do the Hawamaru shit. He gets to run option select. He gets to bait you. He gets to float mix up. He gets to run slide. He gets to throw you. Don't even have to do the weapon flip right away because you know it's going to get another mix up. So they'll just do medium and a DP, take the damage, and then weapon flip you when they land it, right? So, and his overhead is OD. His overhead would beat my overhead. That's just wild, ain't it?
Do you think that Shizamaru is close enough to Hawamaru to make it like also a bad matchup?
What do you mean?
Like they kind of have like a better, same game plan, but Shizamaru.
Yeah, but here's the problem. Here's the difference, right? Shizamaru, when we're playing neutral, he's not gonna poke me out.
That's true.
He can't just poke me out. Hawamaru can poke me out. That's why I would rather fight this matchup over Hawamaru. Because Hawamaru hits like a man, and yeah, Shizamaru hits like a man with tap. But unlike Hawamaru, Shizamaru is constantly putting himself in a situation where I can box see it or DP what he's doing. So really, it just depends on my reactions. As opposed to Hawamaru, it depends on if I'm overextending or not. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's why I would make this matchup a little bit even. I know some people feel like Genjuro wins this, but I think they tripping. I don't see how he could win personally. Because at the end of the day, no matter what I do to Shizu, he can equalize all that shit with one good tap. And when I have to make that comeback, he can neutralize the comeback. So Shizamaru is one of those characters that kind of like when Genjiro's fighting him, they kind of play the same range, but he's in the air most of the time, right? So that opens up opportunities for me to uppercut and get my offense started. And when he's fighting my offense, if I bait a DP, then he's fucked. Big time. And if he tries to back away and I clip him, I'm getting a life lead. And he takes extra life, right? He has low life, right?
He has low life.
He has low life too.
He's like one tier below average.
Okay, so that's in my favor as well. I don't know how long this race lasts, but it lasts good enough. It lasts long enough for me. And I know he's got some bullshit setups, but at the end of the day, Genjuro can disrespect those setups as well.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of stuff he don't have to respect. But if you look at this whole tier list, you can basically summarize what Genjuro struggles with are basically poke characters that have ways to get out of his offense, and characters that force him to play outside his game plan, right? So as a character that makes Genjuro not even get to play how he's supposed to play. These are characters that Genjuro has to take huge risks on, and they can outpoke him and they can make him really have to take a lot of risks. And then these are like a lot of these characters right here, except Shizu, are like character specialist characters, and I don't want to say underdeveloped, but they're kind of like the matchup hasn't been super fleshed out yet. Except in Shizu, I mean, Shizu is different. That's a rare case. And these matchups are just characters that have to fight Genjuro the way Genjuro wants to fight and not get that much out of it. Darlie, if she gets what she wants, she gets a lot, but even then I could take that life lead back. So these are characters Genjuro can make comebacks on, and he can really force them into bad situations. But so now this brings me to a point, right, that I want people to hear. A lot of times when people see Genjuro, they go, oh, well, they nerfed him, but look, he's still viable. He's still good. And this is where opinion and how you think about fighting games and how seasoned of a tournament player you are will decide if he's viable or not, right? Because if you look at all these favorable matchups, these characters, except Shizu, don't often do well in tournament, right? I know Jacko does well with Darlie, and there's a couple of Darlies out there. Infiltration plays Earthquake. Some Yoshitoras do well, maybe. Nock is like one of those special picks. But everybody, oh yeah, Hanzo does well sometimes.
But they're very rare.
But these are rare characters, like you're saying. Like, these are not characters that you see all the time in bracket, right? So these are not really tournament characters per se. They can fight and they can be competitive if you're a specialist. Like, if you're a specialist of these characters, you'll give a lot of people a hard time. But when I think of tournament winning characters, I come up here to like these characters. Even Yashamaru, I think Yashamaru can win a tournament. But he's not top tier by no means. But these characters right here, they can all win a major. Maybe Tam Tam will struggle. Tam Tam might not. Tam Tam will have a hard time winning.
Yeah.
But he can do it. He's like Yashamaru. Like, these two,
they can do it.
They can do it, but they got some win conditions, right?
Yeah.
But the rest, these 5 up here, are very common. You see Hamaru all the time. You see Jubei all the time. You see Charlotte all the time. The Shiki players, you see a lot of those just because of fans. Ukyo and Shizu down here, which would mean Shizu is Genjuro's only good tournament matchup, right? That's like viable, which is not a bad. That's pretty good. Pretty good to have that. Oh, he can fight really the best character in the game. That's pretty good. But when you're trying to make it out of pools, you're gonna see these characters right here. And when you have to fight these characters, it's not in your favor, right? It's unfavorable, in my opinion. So essentially, if you're a competitive tournament player and you're looking at this objectively, off of my opinion, it's almost like Genjuro is between that, is borderline viable and unviable.
Yeah.
He's a character specialist character now. He used to be a one-size-fits-all character, but now, unless you're playing him and you know all the situations, like, I'm still learning this matchup. I'm still trying to figure out what to do with this matchup. I play this matchup a lot. I play the character, but I couldn't say that if I ran into a very strong Jubei that I'd be super confident that I could win that right away. I know this matchup very well. I'm straight on this matchup. This matchup, once again, everybody knows how to deal with Ukyo. You're not going to stop him from doing his game plan, so you have to play the player, and it's up to him to fuck up. So, and then this shit is just whatever. This matchup right here, I feel like if I played that more, I could even that out, and it'll be a very winnable matchup. So, here's like 6 or 7 matchups that are very common.
Except for Tam Tam, I guess.
Yeah, I don't think it depends. These are 7 matchups that are common that Genjuro has a hard time with. And then the rest of these matchups are like pretty rare. Like, when was the last time you seen a Rimuru in top 16?
I think there was a Rimuru in some tournament somewhere I saw it. But it was like, I don't know who was there.
Okay.
But whatever. I haven't seen.
When's the last time you seen a Galford? When's the last time you seen
remember the one that
I'm talking about character specialists. I don't mean like the guy just picked them just because.
You mean like they won something?
Yeah.
I have not seen.
When's the last time you seen Knock? Like a character specialist, not just Chris G picking him because he don't want to fucking fight you. Or like I seen Earthquake actually, but he's got the player nerf. And then I've seen Darlies, right? And I've seen Yoshi's. But the even matchups, he's rare. He's rare, very rare. She's very rare.
I ain't seen him in tournament unless
I haven't.
Unless a counter pick or something.
Yeah. He can fight though. I just don't think anybody's about that life. And Wanfu, like, he's new. He hasn't been fleshed out yet. Kazuki, I've seen Kazuki's in tournament. And Shizu, you see him every fucking tournament. So it really just comes down to, like, you're gonna struggle in tournament. Like, when you play Genjuro, your fundamentals gotta be sound. I know everybody, Genjuro, the gorilla, you know.
Genjuro?
Yeah, Genjuro, he's just doing shit. I like churros too as well. And he's a gorilla, and he's just doing shit. But really what it comes down to is you need to have solid game plan fundamentals. You need to know the game very well to apply him. and you can BS only to what your opponent allows you to BS, and then it just goes back to low risk, trying to do whatever you can to make a good read. You know, that's why you see me deflect a lot, because I'd rather guess on a deflect than like a run up DP, or I'll still do the run up DP, and it might get Eason punished, it might not. You know, that doesn't mean I shouldn't do it. It just means that, you know, I believe in my reads, and if it don't work, I play off of that. If it works, I play off of that. You know what I mean? Don't let nothing, if you're playing this character, be confident. Don't let bad matchups discourage you, because even though I have a hard time, like y'all might saw me pick Hanzo against Tam Tam, against Scrub Cybot, but even though I had a hard time, as a player, you need to experiment, you need to try different strats, you need to have different philosophies, you need to just grow yourself. So playing different characters is not bad, but as a Genjuro player, I don't feel like any of these matchups down here can't be beaten by me improving my skills. I think all these characters right here, if you improve your skills and your knowledge of the game, can all be beaten. Except maybe these two. These two, you might have a hard time. But everybody else, I feel like, can be outplayed. And that's the one thing about matchup charts that I don't want my matchup chart to fall into. I don't want people to think that, oh, because Base said this shit is 6-4 unfavorable or whatever, I mean 4-6, that I shouldn't play this matchup. It's just more like, these are the matchups, if you're going to pick up the character, you have to study. And you have to be really strong at. And these are the matchups that you want to dabble with, but if you know your character will just come natural. So I don't have anything else to say about this matchup chart. I'm done, man. I'm sure I done either piss somebody off or open somebody's eyes to how Genjuro plays. I hope it was informative. I hope people understand Genjuro a little bit better, because I feel like after that Evo and the game got patched, that everybody kind of just forgot about Genjuro. Yeah. You know, so yeah, I'm done, man. I've been playing this character since the game came out. Oh, just, you know, if you don't want to respect my opinion, you don't have to respect it either, man. If you think Yashamaru just loses the Genjuro, that's all. I mean, that's good. I hope you fight every Genjuro, and if you feel that way, then, you know, I'm not gonna tell you you're wrong. I'll tell you I don't agree, but I can't tell you you're wrong, because this game is still new. It hasn't even been out for a year yet. Everybody's still developing the matchups. But what I do like about this game is there's different play styles, there's different philosophies. Everybody kind of is just trying to like interpret the game, and it hasn't been figured out. Like if you look at like Street Fighter 5, or for example Tekken, Leroy just came out. Everybody figured out all the Leroy shit, and still finding more. And he's already tournament viable. When's the last time you seen a Wonfu or like Kazuki cooking in tournament bracket yet? Now, the only character that's like that is like Shizu. We already knew he was godlike, but whenever a new character comes out, it takes some time, and it's because the game is still developing. So just play a lot of Sam Show. Don't take these matchup charts like the Bible. It's just, if you ever wanted to know what I thought about some of these matchups, this is my chart. So I'm good.
Check out that.
All right, cool. I don't have anything else to say, man. Y'all have a good day.